Welcome to the Scaling Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Harper. Today's guest is one of my good friends, Tony Hulbert. He's the CEO of Horsepower Brands. They started with one brand in the roofing space and have since grown roofing, HVAC, painting. They have so many different brands, and we talk about what it takes to scale and add brands. We talk about the challenges with growing a franchise platform and what that looks like and how he overcame those. We talk about what it takes to be a successful franchise owner and what he is looking for in successful franchise owners and what I'm looking for in successful franchise owners. We get into a lot of different great topics: content creation, friendships, building a meaningful and balanced life. It's a great episode, and I know you're going to love it. All right. Tony, welcome to the show.
Here we go. I'm glad to be here in Nashville.
In Nashville.
At your house.
At my house.
Met the kids.
Met the kids. Yeah, you met Margaret.
They're all running
also
around.
known as Baby. Met Murray.
Yeah.
And Emmett. So I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here, man. It's always good to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the audience that doesn't know you, I want to dive into actually pre-Horsepower Brands, because I think it's an important part of your story that helps explain kind of like where you're at now. So go back to the complete nutrition days, and
Let's even
maybe even farther
maybe I'll
back.
tell you a little bit further.
Yeah, let's go farther back.
Yeah,
However farther
so-
back you want to go.
I was. It goes back to first kid in my extended family to actually go to college, and
Okay.
so I remember even at the young age, like 13, my dad looked at my homework and said, "Well, I'm officially can no longer help you with your homework." So like going up through high school, college, had to figure out even how to attend college and all those good things. So went there to university and studied and did really well in accounting. And somebody said that I should look at the CPA route. And I didn't know what a CPA was. And so I'm like, what's that? And so right out of college, became a CPA, really good with finance, really good with numbers, just thinking about business from that angle. I was able to excel in that area. I did a lot of acquisitions with the accounting firm for a short 4-year stint, but didn't enjoy it at all. So learned quickly. I had my CPA license, learned quickly I want to get into the private world. Went to a beverage company, which I think I've told you about, that had the private rights to distribute Pepsi and the various soda drinks and all that good stuff. And so we had the rights. It was a unique situation where 7 families came together to buy the rights to Lincoln, Nebraska. And so we distributed Pepsi through that beverage system. And then through the years, we actually purchased each one of the families out because they also had rights around the Midwest.
Okay.
So I was able to work with that company to grow and scale that company up to 150 million as a CFO. But the whole reason I'm telling the story is I actually, non-traditional path is I went from a CFO to vice president of sales and marketing in that same company.
Oh, wow.
Which most accounting people would not do that. But I just fell in love with growing organizations, building teams, leading teams, and took a jump into that, not knowing what to do. And about 125 employees reported up to me in my young 30s. In that role, so I've been in an executive position since the age of 26.
Wow.
Jumped into nutrition retail. So before Horsepower Brands, I got my experience in franchising because I jumped into nutrition retail. And I joined 2 other guys at the time that had about 40 stores as a franchisee, similar to like a GNC. It's called Complete Nutrition. And they needed a CFO. They needed somebody to help do the acquisitions. And they wanted
For new stores. Yep.
So they were kind of done, building out brand new stores they wanted to go acquire. So joined that group, and that was, we were all in our 30s at that time, and we had no idea what we were doing. And we grew that to 68 stores at the top, 17 different states. We had about 250 employees. So from an employee side, it was actually bigger than Horsepower Brands is today. We did top line revenue a little bit north of 40 million. Earned equity in that, was able to work with those 2 gentlemen. Both of those guys are entrepreneurs all the way through, like big risk. They weren't afraid of much. So I was the conservative side of that group.
You always need that part.
Always need that. So they pushed me to areas that I needed in my life at that time to really understand what entrepreneurship could look like. But we learned a tremendous amount through resilience, grit. Those days were definitely, in terms of the heart beating out of your chest, the anxiety, those were some of the hardest days when I think about growing up through entrepreneurship and having that experience. So I look back and those moments were crucial to what I do today.
How so?
Resilience. Like when you realize things are going to go wrong, and things are going to go wrong in business. It's just how do you react in those moments?
Yep.
And how can you take time to collect your thoughts? How can you take time to make sure that you're out in front leading when things are going wrong? And oftentimes when things are going right, you need to step back and let the team be the ones to celebrate. So the resilience is a big piece of it. Understanding you're not going to always have all the information to make decisions. And so you're going to have to decide from your gut, even if you're a person that likes the numbers or likes data. Like most of the time in business, you're going to have to make decisions without all the information. And a number of other things we could jump into.
Yeah.
So what we learned in that business, and luckily we saw it ahead of time, we were experiencing double-digit top-line growth, same-store sales for many years. And then it soon became single-digit top-line growth. So we're still growing, but something just was feeling off. And I can remember to this day, like walking through like a Costco or a Sam's Club, and I could see the protein that we sell in our store on pallet for retail price below what we were purchasing it at from a cost perspective.
Wow.
And I know you're a fitness guy, but like back in the day, if you needed protein, you went to a nutrition store.
You
didn't
yeah.
go to Walmart
Right,
or
sure.
Costco. So in that moment, I said, we have, there's issues at hand we need to think about. And that was a key driver into our stores, just whey protein and things like that. So we made the decision to start selling and exiting the stores to, a lot of times, our store managers or other people that could run the business locally in market and really be mayor of the town and run the retail store on their own. So luckily, we made the decision early enough. We were debt-free at 25 stores, but I can remember the day that that franchisor sold to private equity.
Okay.
That private equity was funded by a much bigger private equity.
Sure.
So long story short, things went awry. That franchisor, we had 25 stores, debt-free. All three of us by this time have stepped away from the business. So we're not in the business. Our store managers are running it. And they say, join a call for 5 minutes. And we all get on a call, and they said, we're closing effective tomorrow.
Everything.
Everything. The franchisor.
What? After they bought it?
Yeah.
How long after?
It's a long story. It was a good 2 years after.
Wow.
The main private equity, who was financed by a bigger private equity, stopped paying the note. This one came in, ran it, and said, more or less, to jump to the end.
We're not going to do it.
We're not going to do this. Well, the real big part was, or the big issue was, they supplied about 80% of our inventory. And they said, we have 90 days left of what we think is inventory for your stores, and then after that, you're on your own. And we had 25 stores.
My God. So what'd you do?
So like you talk about resilience, we this is actually, so I was at Pepsi and I did the nutrition thing, and then I went back to Pepsi. So I was at Pepsi, vice president of sales and marketing, full-time job, and this happens. And so nights, weekends, we just scrambled and we're working tirelessly to find a solution. And those two other guys were still in it, and we launched a wholesale company and distributed
To provide the
nutrition retail products. And we ended up selling it to other franchisees that needed a product because we had the capital to be able to source it quickly. Just by chance, one of the people that knew a lot of the formulas, at that corporate level, lost his job. So he came and joined our wholesale company.
Wow.
So it worked out in the end.
So you spun up a whole new company to try to...
In less than 90 days. And a significant amount of purchases and a complete, we're...
That's wild.
Not guessing. We knew the industry. We knew the formulas. We knew the product. But we made the labels back then was, there's some lady that we found in the Philippines that made all the artwork. We had to come up with the names of the brands, everything.
Wow.
In 90 days. But we knew what products sold. And so we were able to do that. That product line still exists today. I stepped out of that. I didn't want to be a part of it anymore after all the stores sold. Long story short, we did exit all the stores, but that wholesale line...
the remaining 25, because you had already sold off the other ones to other franchisees. Yep. Okay.
Sold the rest. It worked out in the end because we stopped paying the royalties, and so we were able to find a pathway forward and exit the remaining stores. And then that product line still exists today with one of my old business partners.
He still runs it?
He still runs it. to this
Wow.
day, among other things that he does. But yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
I didn't know that story.
And so when you think about like, and we all have at that age, we all one of them has 5 kids, another has 4. I have 3 full time. What we're all
How old
doing
were your
full time
kids at the time?
things. Young, like 6, 8, 12.
Yeah.
And so nights, weekends, we were just scrambling to get this thing figured out while maintaining everything else we were doing in life. And 25 store managers that were relying on us to have the answers because, their employment counted on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think back of, there's just very little things that could happen in my life that, I don't think that I couldn't get through.
Sure.
It's just, take one step at a time, you can make your way through it. Through all that connection, somebody that I knew introduced me to the owner of Horsepower Brands that has funded it. And we'll jump into Horsepower Brands, but then started with them as their CFO, and it's been a roller coaster ride in itself.
So that is wild. So you had 68 stores at the top. Then when you started there, you had 45 stores. So
Yeah,
you grew from
around
45, 40-ish
Yep.
to 68, then went down from 68 to 25.
Yep.
Then how long did it take you to exit the other 25? How
About
long
two,
was this?
Two,
this whole...
2.5 years. Probably my total time there was about 12 years
Okay.
over this
God,
stint.
you're a total crash course in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship and
Yeah.
franchising. So how was it being a franchisee, and how does that help you today?
Yeah, so as a franchisee, looking back, the community is where the value was. And I think we may have been, and I don't want to say this, stay humble, but we may have been the leaders of the community. But most of the value you got out of the franchise system was calling other franchisees.
Yep.
And how we did acquisitions is I did lend a helping hand to many people that were in that system because I also wanted to be the first person that had the opportunity to buy them if they wanted to exit the system.
Yeah.
So we lent a helping hand out there often, and then we received a lot in return. So there's a community that truly gets built. And even in that system today, like many of the people that I know that you would know came from that complete nutrition era.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. It's
and
like a whole. There's like a whole army
whole thing of
in
it.
franchising right now, like a whole complete nutrition army.
Yeah, and a lot of them were employees of that group that I was a part of.
Okay.
As a franchisee, a lot of them were the franchisor, but it's just a tight-knit group, and that community is strong. And like all those people would pick up my phone today, I'd pick up their call if they called me. So that's
You guys like
number
went to
one.
war together.
Went to war together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So that's number one. And then, looking back, the franchisor at the end of the day, they were supplying the product, so they were absolutely crucial to what we were doing in what we did. So the innovation came through the product, and so the royalty, you did pay that, and they own the wholesale company, so you're paying them for the product. But we saw a ton of value in the franchisor and what they were offering to us. We would have loved to have had it keep going. It just didn't work out for the next group that owned it.
Yeah, and it sounded like market conditions were changing the landscape
fast.
a lot. Yeah, and Amazon. What year was this? What years were these?
Is from the years of 2012 all the way up through.
So Amazon was still becoming really relevant at that
Yes.
time too.
A lot of people always thought that it was more Amazon, but you started getting it into Target and big box stores. It came all channels of business started selling supplements.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is what I factored it, or is the key factor. But Amazon was obviously a big player too.
Yeah. And then, so you were working as VP of sales, and then you said, hey, I like this franchise thing. I want to kind of dig deeper into it. Or like what happened? How did you find Horsepower Brands?
Connection from that Complete Nutrition Network.
Okay.
And it connected me to the Josh Skolnick, who owned Monster Tree and Redbox Plus, who had just exited Monster Tree to another private equity, which was a franchise model, and then owned Redbox Plus, but was in a transition period of exiting that. And it took a while. So I didn't explain the story exactly the correct way because I was at Pepsi as a CFO, left that to do the Complete Nutrition thing. And then when we got to around that 25 stores, that's when I went back to Pepsi as a vice president of sales and marketing. So went from Pepsi to Horsepower. But it took a while for Josh to convince me because this was soon after like this whole chaos of franchising of the private equity. And I didn't know if I wanted to be on the franchisor side of it. I didn't know if I was ready for that in my life and the growth that I was going to take and the commitment.
Because you saw what it took them to go through that.
Correct.
From the franchisee lens, but seeing what the franchisor had to deal with.
Correct. And at that time, it was just going to launch Mighty Dog Roofing. So I also had no understanding about the roofing category. And so,
right.
I'm walking into becoming a franchisor, which I hadn't been on that side of the table, and also in the roofing space or home service space. So I talked to Josh probably a good 4 to 6 months, and he was able to help get me there, to tell me a lot about his past growing up in the tree care space and just seeing how successful he was before he ever even chose to franchise the business model.
You mean with the Monster Tree Service
With Monster
brand?
Tree, yeah. And just home services. Like, I knew there's money there, but like it's impressive the kind of businesses that people can build in home service. But he got me there, made the leap, came on as the CFO of Mighty Dog Roofing. We can kind of dive into what we chose to do there, but quickly became the CEO of Horsepower Brands about 10 months later.
Oh, it was only 10 months later?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so what made you decide to what were the things that he did to help you kind of get there? Like, what were some of those conversations you had where you're like, I see this and I'm going to help lead this charge? Because you guys have now gone from, just for the audience who doesn't know, you guys have gone from one brand, a roofing brand, to 9 brands. There's been a lot of evolution through that entire process. That all happened in the last 5 years?
Yep. This is our
5 years, so that's a lot, yeah. So what are some of those things that were like, all right, I want to do this, I want to sink my teeth in, I want to go?
Yeah, so one thing that I've learned about myself, I like to be part of anything that's growth oriented.
Yep.
Not necessarily like significant risks or not. It's just whether or not, like, is it going to be part of something that's going to grow, and what's the goal towards the end. And so one area that people can convince me or get me excited is just like, what does it look like 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
Yeah.
Instead of like the next year. And so I think what they were talking about at the time, there really wasn't a solid plan as to what Horsepower was. They were just talking about
25 brands by 2025.
that became part of the plan. Yeah.
I remember.
But that wasn't even at that time. They were trying to explain a portfolio of home services, but truly there wasn't a clear plan as to what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But it was to launch multiple brands, similar to what he did with Monster Tree and Redbox Plus, and so that's what is the growth part, and being part of something again, of taking something from the beginning and seeing where it could go. That's number one. Number two, there's some people that were joining that group that I was a part of through the Complete Nutrition days. Mm-hmm. So that was getting exciting, and that was fun. And so it's just more about the growth.
Growth in the people.
Yeah. And I think anything I'm going to be a part of in a career or an organization, there's going to have to be growth, or I'm going to get bored pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're the same way.
I am the same way.
This podcast is called Scaling, right?
Yeah. We talk about scaling here. We talk about
Scaling.
growth.
It's not plateau. Or
no, it's not. It's not
out.
plateau or stagnation with Aaron Harper.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Mighty Dog Roofing had how many units when you got involved?
So it started in January 2021, and Mighty Dog technically was the founder in one location.
Okay. So you incubated.
Incubated.
And so for the audience, like, there are different ways to franchise a business. What you and I did was incubation. So we took a single location business and said, hey, this is a great model. Let's put it in every country, every county, every city, every state across the country, and then eventually potentially other countries. And one thing that you guys have done that's really unique at Horsepower is every single one of the brands you've incubated.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them. So well, I guess
there's a lot to talk about.
There's so many things we can talk about. So, what was your strategy around growing Mighty Dog, and then kind of what are some things you learned as you decided to launch these other brands?
Yeah, so Mighty Dog, similar to your story, we found the founder, and it was a different name at the time, and we rebranded it to Mighty Dog Roofing. I'd say that Josh has a couple people in his ecosphere that he's worked with from a marketing lens that is really good at the branding and the marketing side. So that was a huge help. But we set up the branding. Then it's all about recruiting the people that's going to support the franchise system. So again, I've never been on a roof. I don't know the category, but what we can do is recruit people that have been in that category can help us grow that system. So in our case too, which I think your founders are more involved in the business. In our case, our founders are not involved in the franchisor side of the business.
Yep.
So our founders continue to own and operate their existing location, and do so right alongside the entire franchise system, as long as they shall, or as long as they want to. And they own that 100% of the time. We don't own that business. And then we launch the franchisor, and we grow and scale it from there. What we've learned a lot. What I'm excited about this year in 2025 is what we learned is we need to stop the acquisitions and the incubation. Each one should take 2 to 3 years, and at a minimum.
Yeah, at a minimum. That's if you.
Yeah.
That is if you are growing the units at the pace that you and I grow grow
Correct.
brands. Yeah.
But yeah, you have to look at each one of those brands, and you have to look at each one from a value proposition. And it's home services, so you're not going to come into the market and do something that nobody else has thought of. But
right.
What can you do better than most, and what are some areas that offer some value proposition that would incentivize somebody to want to start a franchise for you or with you in one of your brands? And so we do spend a lot of time on the front end thinking about value proposition and why does this make sense for somebody to consider to be a business owner through franchising with us. We did Mighty Dog Roofing in 2021. During that time, so I was a CFO and interim brand president of Mighty Dog. But during that time, we created a better acquisition strategy of what we're going to do in terms
for
of
other brands,
for the rest of the brands.
Okay.
And so a lot of my role was to outreach of trying to target and find people that would want to do the same thing with us 8 more times. In 2022, we launched 5 brands. So now we're up to 6. And then 23 and 24, we launched 3 more. And so 22, 5 brands, like looking back, I couldn't tell you what one of those days looks like. I don't have a good memory of any one of those days. It was absolute insanity. We also launched, at the time, which we looked back and we maybe would have done it differently, but we launched a marketing firm, a recruiting firm, a bookkeeping firm. We have an auto dealership in Nebraska. Like I never thought I'd have to file the paperwork to become a licensed auto dealer, but we are that in Nebraska. And so there just was massive growth in 2021 and 2022. And this last year, we've slowed that down. And it's like I illustrated as we've put brick upon brick with the foundation. And it's been a much more successful year in the eyes of our franchisees and health of the system. And our people are able to catch up to the company and be a part of this growth with us. And so it's been a really good year just focusing on what we have in place.
And how many units are you guys up to now across all 9 brands?
So territories, we're over 1,500 territories. We sell about 3 territories per franchisee, so about a little over 400 franchise owners.
Wow.
That are in the system across the 9 brands.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a lot to deal with.
Yes.
And in a very short amount of time. I mean, 5 years, 400 franchisees, that's 100 franchisees roughly per year if you balance it, if you iron that out. And that, again, for the audience that's listening, that's not normal. That's not a normal rate of growth. No. And I don't think that, I mean, you guys are very similar in the sense that, like, you had a lot of experience in franchising going into it. Josh had already grown and exited 2 brands. I had been growing and involving 2 other brands, and we've been able to grow this rate. But you mentioned you'd do some things differently. What are some of those things?
Looking back, one thing, and I know some other people believe that the people you hire should work in office and build this collective. I do think with a startup, it's good to have a team that you can look at each day and be in the office with. So I don't know how I would have changed it, but we are remote now, and it's not for the benefit of the employee. It's strictly for the type of company we just built. 9 brands, all meant to be 9 national brands.
Sure.
Talent is the lever. It's not just the financial capital, but it is the talent.
You need the people.
And it's the people. And so looking back, I wish I would have recruited across the nation just for the right people right out of the gate, no matter what.
Yeah, because you guys were all in office till what year?
All the way up through end of 2023 almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was looking for I don't think I've shared the story with you, but I was looking for a brand to franchise, and I was at the IFPG conference, and I was there, and Josh Skolnick comes up to me. He goes, yeah, you want to come to Omaha?
Yeah. Yes.
He's like, and I was like, well, I appreciate the offer. And he goes, we'll put you up in a nice place, and get a nice house. It'll be great. And I'm like, appreciate the offer, but I'm going to franchise a business. I don't know which one yet, but I'm going to franchise a business. He goes, oh, okay, good luck. And he like gave me a bump, and I was like, and then
that was it.
away. And that was it.
Yeah.
I was like, and then like a few months later, we were, I don't, competitors, but not really, I mean, it was like, but you guys were talking to the Rolling Suds guys at the beginning too.
Yeah. It's I did know that they reached out to you. So yeah, it was to recruit people to come to Omaha, Nebraska. That's a sales pitch in itself.
Hard sell.
Yeah.
But you guys were paying for people to move there and stuff like that, and
yeah.
get the culture going, which I respect. But it's hard. I mean, unless you're in a place like Nashville or Austin or even still though, to build 9 brands, like you do need to have access to that talent.
Yeah, and talent is the lever, and it makes everything easier. You need brand leadership, and so in each brand, we need a leader that's in place that knows the space, knows franchising, is able to motivate, incentivize, and get a system to grow with it. We can't jump in 9 different brands each day. We need leaders in place, and so when we chose to go remote for that reason, it's been incrementally better. We've put new people in place, and we've been able to recruit from organizations that have been able to scale their businesses. And so people are coming in because they've done this already before, and they know how to support the franchisees, oftentimes even in the exact same industry. And so that's been number one when I look back and think, how could we have done it differently?
Yep.
Number two, and this is, I think this could be debated in franchising, depending on which franchisor you speak to. So I don't know if there's necessarily a right way, but our way is, and this might be a little bit how, because I was a franchisee and an entrepreneur to me is somebody who's creative at finding solutions to problems. And so we're trying to build entrepreneurs to own our businesses inside our system. And in doing so, in franchising, you want to keep these guardrails. You got to have guardrails in place. No matter what, you got to have a playbook and guardrails. To the extent possible, I'm trying to widen the guardrails of choice within certain vendors or options of what the franchisee can use in our system. Where in the early days, we were very narrow. You had to use our marketing firm. You had to use our recruiting firm, things like that.
Yep.
In that world, even when you're succeeding, if it's just not to the same level, or expectations are just different across everybody's spectrum. So what's helped, I think, now is we're providing options. And what ends up happening is if you have good options in place, 80% of the systems go in the direction that you wanted them to go anyways.
Sure.
And then 20%, goes in a different direction until they learn to come back over here anyways.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to characterize it other than trying to create a franchise system that still has guardrails, just a little bit wider than maybe what we were doing before. And I think that that's helped with franchisee satisfaction, and also truly trying to make an entrepreneur that we want them to be able to make decisions and build their business. And then number 3, I know that we share similar values to this, and I credit a lot of our discussions with you that you've helped me on just to help validate my thinking, but it's setting expectations of what it takes to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Before they sign.
Like proper expectations in the franchise sales process.
Correct.
Yeah.
And before they join, and you get a better experience for them, but you also get a better owner, and you grow a bigger business overall system. So I think we could always do better. Even today, I'm sure I'm going to look back 2 years from now and think we could still do better at setting expectations, because it's something that you just have to over communicate to the point where you feel like you can't communicate anymore, and you almost still have to keep communicating. Because business ownership is tough, and people need to get excited about it, but at the same time have a understanding what it's going to take to be successful.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's full-time, eat, bleed, sleep, breathe, wake up, do it again, maybe not sleep, take that to grow the business.
Yeah.
And then in doing that, you then earn the right to step back and hire people and buy some of your time back. But until you have revenue in the business and you have you understand it, to run under the assumption that that is just something you get when you buy a franchise is simply delusional.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
and I don't want people to buy into the business thinking based on delusion.
Yeah.
You know,
Even in the nutrition business, looked at data daily and weekly. The one really great thing about that franchise system, they were really good at the reporting and analytics, margins, and everything that we analyze in the business. But, after about 7 years in that business, you could tell me the store because I knew the rent and the fixed costs, and I knew the variable costs. And if you told me the store did $60,000 in the month, I could probably get within $500 what the profit was going to be.
wow.
But that took a long time being in the business every single day.
Yeah.
Understand the numbers to a point where I knew where we were going to end. I knew if it was profitable or not within $500. I didn't need to even look at the financials. So it's the same thing in what we're doing. Looking back, like the answer is obvious. Sometimes it's just making sure you just stay the course to what your values are and what you need to do to be successful.
Yeah. What were some of the hardest launches out of the brands? And just give the audience real quick, like all the names of the brands and what they do.
Yeah, so we have Mighty Dog Roofing, obviously a roofing brand. Blingle Outdoor Lighting, iFoam Insulation, so spray foam insulation, blow-in insulation.
Do you have to do that a lot? Foam, because
Foam.
people hear foam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost. I look back, but it works in the marketplace. But
Yeah.
yeah. Heroes Lawn Care, which is fertilization and irrigation primarily. Gatsby Glass, which is shower door enclosures, wine rooms, railings, everything glass. We do a lot of commercial in that space. Groovy Hues Painting, Bumblebee Blinds, Stand Strong Fencing, and then Varsity Zone Heating and Air. When we look at the brands that...
Some of those were launched with just an FDD too, right? Wasn't...
only one, Groovy Hues.
Groovy Hues was the one I was thinking about. Okay.
But then we ended up partnering with the founder soon after.
Yeah. Because the original founder had a concept of like a painting and a power wash company together. Correct. And kind of doing two trucks. And you guys have since changed the model from what I understand.
Yep. So that would be an example of a brand that it was Groovy Hues Painting and Power Washing.
Yeah.
Well, with no founder. So we launched that and we didn't see success out of the gate. Like having a story to tell, having some blueprint that somebody can follow to some degree with the franchise disclosure document. For us, I wouldn't launch or incubate a brand into the future without a founder.
Yep. So you went afterwards because the launch was not
Correct.
as successful and went and found someone and said,
Correct.
hey, do you want to partner with us on this? I didn't know that happened.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Soon after. So we didn't wait too long to identify that. But then during that process, and this is when we went to the remote, we found some people that were in a very large national painting chain before to join our system.
To support franchise owners.
Correct. And quickly realized that we were going to focus just on painting. And so we removed the power washing. And so it just became Groovy Hues Painting. There's still power washing as an option, but I can tell you 99% of them just paint.
Yeah.
So that is also like just focus on one thing and be really great at it.
Sure.
And not try to do all things. So that brand was like an evolution. Now that brand in 2025, it's up. We're really proud of where that brand is heading. And where we're going to end the year in 2025. But a lot of it's the people, having a founder in place, and then narrowing our scope and focus on one thing.
Yep.
So that's helped. Our Blingle Outdoor Lighting, I think we could do that. I'm excited about outdoor lighting. We came out of the gate with an approach that we are doing differently now going into the future. Holiday lighting is...
it's a killer business.
It's a killer business.
Yeah.
And so we focus a lot of attention there. But for you to be an outdoor lighting company, 9 months of the year, you need to be able to focus on landscape lighting and permanent lighting, which is a valuable business. We have more people, more processes, more things in place to support the outdoor lighting so that we can have a full year business. Looking back, if we could have had all those pieces into place right out of the gate, I think we could have seen better success within that brand. And so out of 9 brands, those are the 2 that I think we could have done differently.
Okay.
Or could have made some changes.
And so the largest kind of anchor brand would be Mighty Dog, right?
Yes.
So this is a thesis that I have, and you can either validate or we don't have to go down anything.
Yeah.
But like my thesis with Rolling Suds specifically, because I've gone down the path of like, should I add this brand or should I do this or should I find this founder or whatever, and I've made the decision like, okay, I just want to give all of my energy, even though we have a CEO and a C-suite of executives, like whatever resources that are necessary to get Rolling Suds to the size. Like I don't want to detract, and so I think, and I could be wrong, but like that Rolling Suds will be bigger 5 years from now if I don't do that. Now there's an argument to be made, like if I did launch a holiday letting concept,
Right.
franchisees could now add another business, and then they could, and that was kind of where I went originally. But I just wonder, like, if you were to do it again, and you found a one brand, or would you do a platform, or would you do individual brands that are owner like that? You know, what would there be any kind of like different approach moving forward, or?
I don't think it would have been. I don't think we would have been able to change the original founders'
Mission.
thought process. That was the mission.
That was the mission.
Create a portfolio.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That was going to
But
happen.
I'm talking
either
about
way.
you specifically, like.
I would have just done. I would have gone slower. I just
Okay.
would have gone slower. Like we were talking a little bit on our drive. Like the expectations to build a franchise system, it should be 7 to 10 years, not
Yes.
And so if you go in with that mindset to do 9 brands within 5 years, like yeah, I mean you think about there's a lot that we had to put forward, and so the people, like even if I can withstand that level of growth personally, and or even a couple more people, to have 150 employees behind me to be able to stay up with that same pace and understand and catch up.
It's going to break a lot of people.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
And we've
it's
even
just,
seen that.
yeah. Not everyone's positioned for even growth within, because even growing with one brand, like you're still opening 2 to 4 owners a month.
Yep.
That have never owned a business, and that's a whole process in itself.
They
So,
need a lot of help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to get to, if the goal was to say, let's get to 9 brands, we're going to do a portfolio either way, I would just lengthen the time in which we would have done it
Got it.
and set better expectations on the portfolio side.
Yep. Makes sense. And then when you launch a new brand, we're going to budget this amount, we're going to model it to this amount, we're going to be negative this amount of time, and kind of like walk me through kind of like your thought process on launching a brand and what kind of because I know I have ideas of how much it costs. Like, wondering based on your experience now doing it 8 more times than I have.
Yeah.
What you kind of think about, how you think about that.
I think that we're dialed in now. And so when you look at the last 3 brands that we've launched, we are dialed in. We have the staff, the team, everybody in place that can support a brand launch. And while, you still have missteps along the way, we have a lot less than what you do, or especially somebody who's never done it before. And so even with all that, we still contribute at least $1 million to $1.5 million initially to launch a brand.
Right.
And us, we can immediately start selling franchises.
Yeah, you're
month one.
Month one, yeah.
We send an email blast out, not only to our referral partners, but to all past candidates that didn't move forward with maybe a brand. And so actually month 1, month 2, we actually award locations at a pretty good clip in the last 3 brands that we launched, up to the point where, like Stand Strong Fencing, I think we awarded 10 to 12 franchisees within the first 3 months, 90 days.
Yeah, and you still set aside $1 million to $1.5 million minimum.
Correct.
Yeah, that is a really good, important part for people who are listening to understand, because one of the biggest pieces of franchising is selling units. If you don't have the ability to sell units, you're going to need more money than that.
Quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Quite a bit more. You have to present yourself. You're asking people for a large investment. So you need to ensure that you have a large team or a team behind you. And then your team needs to have the experience to support them.
They have to have been in franchising before in some way, shape, or form.
Correct. Franchising or like the fencing category.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out and try to recruit somebody from the fencing category that they're 20 years into their career, they're going to demand a higher salary than most. So
Sure.
but that's what you need to launch a brand. So people, obviously the marketing, legal. I mean, it's like anything, but you're trying to build a national brand. So you'd think most people would already know that or believe that that's the budget you need at a minimum.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
oftentimes it can be more.
so if I think about like, I was talking about this with someone. So if you think about software as a service, like a SaaS company,
Yeah.
you've got pre-seed round of raising, you've got seed round, you've got Series A,
Yeah.
you've got Series B, like, and a SaaS company might not be profitable for 12 years,
Correct.
like literally.
Yeah.
And they understand that the founder's just gonna be diluted as he raises or she raises, and continue to kind of get to the point where that product of software is built in a way that then commands royalties or software fees or whatever, but then those software fees are like 90% margin or whatever once it's created. So that's why these companies sell for billions of dollars or whatever. What we do isn't too dissimilar.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard people say business as a service. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
BaaS.
Yeah.
I mean, franchising, we are essentially building a model that someone can say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I can expect an average rate of return. I don't think so you're essentially launching owners, and you're building that model out with the owners.
Correct.
And so you should be over investing to figure that out, because and the less you know about franchising, the more money you're going to spend.
Correct.
But these franchisors need to raise I feel like in a similar way to a SaaS company, because the model's not too different. Also, franchisees need the most amount of help when they
Yes.
produce the least amount of royalties.
Yep.
And so if you launch 50 franchisees in the first 2 years, let's just say, you have 50 business owners, and it's going to take them 18 to 24 months probably to feel comfortable in their business. And we help with things like supplier relationships and business coaching and groups and stuff to help that not necessarily be comfortable, but be less hard than if they were to do it on their own. But I'm just wondering, like, why the lack of kind of knowing that they need to raise that money? Like, why are you and I doing it in a way that feels foreign, at least versus the other franchisors that I talk to? Like, why do you think that is?
I don't even know. I don't know what information is out there to make people believe that, because I don't know what stories where somebody, like, I don't know a story where somebody like, yeah, I was able to build a franchise off $20,000. Like, I don't know a single one.
I think that's a really bad plan.
Yeah. I don't know a single one where, yeah, it's like I paid a fee, and then I was able to just launch a brand, and it was easy from there. Like, it's a whole nother business model. It's entirely another business model to take a concept and then build a model around it where business as a service, somebody can pick it up and run that business and become successful. And then to take it across the nation, our product is a service that somebody's offering within a home. But with Blingo Outdoor Lighting, I didn't know that on the East Coast there's some areas where you're not allowed to have lights on because the turtles are coming in with the migration. They won't come in if there's lights on at homes, and so there is no outdoor lighting along a coastal region on the East Coast somewhere. Like, oh, really? But we, sold territory for that brand, and for outdoor lighting. Now there's a much inner coast. Like, you could still run the business, but like just the nuances that you learn across the nation on different service lines of what's allowed, what's not. You're taking a concept that you know a lot about, or you think you know a lot about in an area of the country that you've been able to become successful, but you're going to learn a lot more as you take it across the nation. And now if we want to get into Canada, that's a whole nother set of not just franchise rules, but also contractor rules and home construction rules, labor laws, and things we got to learn about within that for our franchise system. So yeah, it's a massive investment, but it should be, because you're trying to scale something with a lot of people's capital and life savings, and so it's only prudent that you put a significant investment behind each one of them.
Do you think it's lack of education?
Well, 100. Yeah.
Like for franchisors, like, do you feel like is that why so many franchisors launch without $1.5 million?
Yeah, that's a piece, like education, or people not willing to say, hey, like, you need to hold on and let me just shed some light as to what this is going to take before you make a decision that you're not going to, enjoy making. So, like, lack of education, lack of willingness to just tell people to hold on.
Yeah.
But like with a lot of entrepreneurs, we're bullheaded. Like, we're going to still do it.
We're going to do it regardless.
But lack of education is definitely probably a key part.
I saw a post on LinkedIn like a week ago, and it just drove me crazy. It was some guy. He posted. Did you see this thing? I retweeted or I reposted it or whatever. But it was like, he's like, I talked to all the different firms, the packaging firms or whatever about.
Yeah.
And he's like, someone told me it was going to be 25 grand, but then I read my contract later and it was 35 grand. But I had like 2 truck breakdowns in the last year, so I couldn't afford the 35 grand. But now we're franchising nationwide, and like, I think his business is like maybe at $175,000 in revenue, like total revenue.
His fundamental business that he's
like
building
his
off
actual business that he's franchising off of, and like, he couldn't afford trucks and all that, and he's putting these videos out online on LinkedIn, like sitting in his bed talking about how he needs to find his first 5 franchisees. And this isn't like, I'm not meaning to like bash him specifically, because I don't know what his company's called. I don't know, but the fact is like, he should not be franchising his business. Correct. He doesn't even have enough money to pay for the legal fees to get the let alone the economics that make sense to even justify a franchise model. And it just was like, it made me so like sad for him.
Yeah.
For the potential franchisees that join that system. I'm just like, this is not a good plan for anyone.
Yeah.
So I've thought of like some kind of certification program for franchisors. I've thought of like a bunch of different ways for franchisors to at least have the information. Because like, I feel like if a lot of franchisors knew that it was going to cost $1.5 million to franchise their business, or $800,000 or $1 million or whatever, depending on the model, like, or $2 million or $3 million or $4 million, like, we just have less franchisors, and that would be probably pretty good.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
It wouldn't be a bad thing at all.
Yeah, it could be just the evolution of franchising, because maybe 20, 30 years ago, there was less regulation, less people doing that model, more people willing to try alongside a founder of, because they have a burger restaurant, and they're like, well, try this with me, and a more willingness to just try it alongside somebody, and not this expectation that it works. Where in today's world, when people talk about buying a franchise, even in emerging franchise systems, the proven model is an expectation of the franchisee to some degree. And so maybe it's just 30 years later that there's just a higher expectation of what people want out of their franchisor, regardless if you are starting with 1 location or 100, and that pressure is put on it. So with that, like, that's where the capital is needed out of the gate. So maybe some people just, the American dream, they think that you could start with a lot less, because back in the day, maybe that was possible. I can't think of one person that started in the last 5 years that hasn't put a significant amount of capital in.
No, and I mean, if you think of like our generation, like, me, you, Dan Claps, like, there's Steve Montgomery, like, other people that we know, like, they're putting significant money behind building a brand. And I think that's really important. Like, we are putting significant dollars behind it, and that's what it takes. Like, you need the experience of the franchising experience, I think, is important. And if you don't have that as a founder, you find that in some way, shape, or form. You recruit someone who has worked for a franchise company. You bring on advisors who have franchise businesses. You do something to gather the intellectual capital, and then you invest significantly, understanding. I mean, David Barr talks about it, like, until a brand gets to, let's call it 100 open units.
Yeah.
And for us, that's trucks.
Yes.
Like, fully operational open units. it doesn't even make economic sense for the franchisor.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
and like, if you have 4,000 franchisors and 16% of them get to 100 open units, and I think it's like less than 100 of those got to 100 open
Right.
units in under 10 years, well, then you're going to burn a lot of cash.
Right.
I wonder if there's like a way to like almost bring like Silicon Valley venture approach to like franchisors, where it's like, you know, it's gonna be a venture fund that's gonna make 100 bets, but one of them's gonna be 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's just like,
but it might be even
50 grand here, 80 grand here, like
could
whatever.
be a better ratio if the right capital gets behind the right people too.
Yeah, if you have the right capital and you have the right
Because the thing with software is you're making a product. I mean, your go to market hasn't even been tested. At least in what we're doing, we're starting off with known industries.
Yeah, and something that has been tested.
Yeah,
at least in one
market.
market.
Founder in place. Like, I'm not inventing the next home service thing.
You're not creating Facebook or Uber or Airbnb. Yeah.
So I think it's a strong bet for people to put money behind. It's just the time horizon. Make sure that you're setting the appropriate set amount of time for that franchise system to mature out, or at least get to a point where it seems mature. But with the right capital, then I think a lot of systems would even perform better if they had better capital out of the gate and could get the talent. Because it comes back, a franchise system, it comes back to the people. That's a big part of what we do.
Yeah, you have to have the people. You also have to have the right franchisees. Having the right capital in place prior allows you to be really selective. Which is super important.
That's a great point.
If you have capital in the bank and someone comes to you and they're like, you're kind of like, I don't think you're right. You don't need that money to make payroll.
Yeah.
So you can say, no, we'll wait for the next one for that market.
Yeah. So do you remember last time or the first time we ever talked? Do you remember where it was?
It was at YoungCon.
Yeah, in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I reached out to you because it was all about, I wanted your take and feedback on selecting the right type of candidate to become a franchisee. And that was one of the main reasons I was reaching out to you.
Because of how selective you've heard that I had been before?
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I think about it, and I think any franchisor should think about it this way, is it's going to cost way more money and like other unnamed expenses from culture standpoint or whatever that are unquantifiable to get the wrong franchisee out than we will ever make bringing them in.
Right.
And the difference between a $2 million a year operator and a $200,000 a year operator is like 10x, 1,000x different.
1,000x.
Yeah, 1,000x different.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we launched Rolling Suds, like I sat down and I sat with Brian Wendling Sr. and Jr. and I was like, what is it that you guys think you do? And what is it about you individually that makes this business successful? And I like interviewed him and I was like extracting like, okay, clearly B2B sales is important. Clearly you have to have resilience. You have to have a pretty high risk tolerance because a lot of these jobs are commercial and you might be outlaying cash before you get paid. You have to have like a relentless ability to follow up no matter what and not take no for an answer. And then based upon that, we constructed basically what our ideal franchisee profile was. And then we took that and said, okay, I'm going to go to all the brokers that I have relationships with and say, this is our person.
Right.
And we weren't even doing SBA loans at the time. So it was like they had to have $250,000 to $350,000 in cash, or they could liquidate retirements or home equity lines of credit. But they had to come to the table with that. And they had to be prepared to be in the business full time, which, as you know, is a big ask for our industry. But we were just ruthless about it. And then I would also tell the brokers, here's our candidate. And if you send us the wrong candidate, it's fine. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to call you, or my team's going to call you, and they're going to say, this guy's not right for us. Here's why. And we're going to give him back to you.
Right.
But I'd love to just avoid that whole process.
Right.
And let you send them somewhere the right way at the beginning. And some of that is like, coaching and saying, hey, this person wasn't right and here's why. And sometimes the brokers maybe aren't going to talk to the same candidate that we're going to have. Maybe they are talking to a different type of candidate, and that's also okay. But we were just ruthless about who we wanted in. And as the business has evolved and as we've seen more and more, we've even just continued to raise the bar.
Yeah. Same with us. I think we're continuing to raise the bar of what we expect out of our franchise owners. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It's an area that I flip it with. I just focus a lot with all-in mindset. I spend a lot of time at our Discovery Day talking about what it takes. I go back to what I already knew, but now I'm doing a better job articulating it to our prospective candidates coming in of what it's going to take to build a business. You got to go all in, and it's truly not. Everyone wants to know the time equation, but I want your all-in mindset. I want your mind focused on this business
100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Yeah. And you should, because if you're going to drop $200,000 or $300,000 into something,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine just being like, all right, I'm just going to like put $300,000 in it and I'm just going to hire someone and I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't understand. Like, I'll never get that. And maybe that's just the way I'm like wired, but it fundamentally doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like having a child and then just like not going to see the child ever and hoping that the child grows up and like has values and morals. It's like,
I spent more time thinking about it too. Of like humans by nature, we're not good at prioritizing things in life anyway. So like,
no.
If you have this business, well, I hope as an entrepreneur, you need to maintain a lot of other things in your life, or this business will suffer too. So your physical health, your mental health, your relationships with your wife, husband, kids, what you're still doing for just fun outside of it, and then you have your business. Like, so how do you prioritize all these things in your life and still start a business? The fact is, this business is going to take a tremendous amount of your time those first 2 years. If you also have a career or other things going on in your life, and this is just one of many other priorities, like it's just you're going to, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience no matter what you do.
No matter what.
You got too much on your plate, and things will suffer already, and it's already you're going to have to not have as much time to your spouse, your kids, or the things that you may have done in the past those first 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, I joke, but it's true. But like, I mean, when I launched Rolling Suds, I was up at 5:30,
Yep.
running the business till 7:30, hiring new people, doing outreach, building systems, checking training programs, onboarding. Then I would sell and be on the sales calls from 8 till 6.
Yep.
Then I'd put the kids to bed, and then from 8 p.m. till 11:30 p.m. I'd be running the business.
Working.
Yeah. Like I had a staff of like 14 people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't semi-absentee.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Like, I'm still to this day chairman of the board.
Yeah.
Obsessed over this business
All the time.
Even though I have a CEO.
Yeah.
And a full C-suite of executives, like I'm thinking about it all the time.
Yeah.
And like, if you're not doing that, your competitor is.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's like you got to go out and put it all on the table. And you know, we try to tell franchisees, because sometimes, or a prospective franchisee will get on the call and be like, "Oh, I'm kind of thinking about like keeping my job or whatever," and I'm just like, "Listen, like if you're gonna invest money in something, like you should ask, what is this business gonna look like 5 years from now, and will it still be interesting to me?"
Right.
And like where I'm at with this business, as an example, like I know that there's things we can continue to do to increase the enterprise value for franchise owners and help them make money faster and more efficiently and get a better cash on cash return that will then increase the enterprise value of Rolling Suds, such as national accounts and things that you and I have talked in length about. And if I wasn't giving it my full, I just don't like a franchise owner shouldn't buy a franchise unless they can see ways that they can continue to build that to a massive thing. I mean, barring like maybe, I guess like ATM machines or like vending where it's truly like I'm just dropping this off and I'm refueling it once a week or something like that. But to me, like that might not even be worth the time spent. Like, what are you going to make, an extra $400 or $500 a month? Like, So that's trying to help them think about the frame, because like you're right. Like a lot of people are like, oh, when can I step away?
Oh, yep, we get that. Yeah.
When can
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you gonna want to? Like if it's doing $2 million a year,
Yes.
and you could see a path for $5 million,
Yep.
are you gonna want to step away?
Yeah.
Because what is there like that you're gonna be able to do that's gonna get you closer to that? Like you'd have to go start a new thing from scratch, get it to 2 million, and then try to figure out just like. So I have to like frame that to them. I feel like a lot of people are like kind of lazy.
The step away I get a lot of times, and I say the similar thing, but I just say, well, it's my job as a franchisor to make you want. You're going to get to a point where you're going to want to step back in or stay in, like, and once you've built something to a certain point where you in your mind said you could say like I could step away from this. Like my hope is that you say you're built to this point where if I got another truck, another person, put a little bit more marketing in, it would take me to that next inflection point. And inflection points exist, and so we have a tiered royalty system, and it's essentially meant to help chart their path towards success. So as they scale their business, we actually charge less. But like what can I do to incentivize you to want to stay in this? Because you've done one of the hardest things, which is go from 0 to this mark. Why would you want to step back now?
Yeah, I say make active income great again.
Yes. Make active income great again. I kind of like that.
Make active income great again.
That's funny.
You think of like our parents. Like I don't know about you, but like my dad worked his fucking tail off.
Yeah.
Like he was a Finnish carpenter by trade.
Yep.
Worked, I mean, tirelessly. Like and it was part of his identity.
Yeah.
Such that even when he had to medically retire, like it was hard for him to find meaning and purpose, because like his active income,
that's
like
what he did,
fueled him as a human. And a lot of kind of the older generations, like that is like they are identified by the work. And I feel like maybe it's our generation and the generation below that's like, I don't want to work and I want all the stuff.
Right.
And it's like, no, like,
no,
that's not how this works.
Yeah. It hasn't gotten any easier. That doesn't exist.
The work is still what it takes.
Yeah.
Is work.
Yes.
And Hormozy talks about how like he posted this one thing. He's just such a genius. He's like, remember that guy who got rich from drop shipping, Bitcoin, power washing, and ATM machines? No, me either.
Yeah, me either.
Pick one thing.
Yeah, pick one thing.
Pick one thing.
Do it for a long enough time.
Yeah, and then you can go diversify.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for someone who's looking to buy a business to think about what is that one thing and what does it look like 5 to 10 years from now? Will it still be something that I want to do versus when can I step away? I just don't think that's a good lens.
We use EOS in our system.
Yep.
And one of their criteria is to create your 10-year vision.
Yep.
Coincidentally, our franchise agreement's 10 years. And so I tell everyone at Discovery Days, like the goal of this day is to be thinking 10 years out. And so we have a page in our handout of like, what would this look like 10 years from now? And so throughout this day, like go through that exercise in your mind. What would this business look like for you 10 years from today? And I'm trying to create that mindset of wanting to stay in that business and think about how special it could be.
Yeah.
And then they all talk about freedom and the things that they would want to be able to do and so by leveraging the vision and thinking 10 years out, it's oftentimes we'll start to answer those questions of what you're searching for through business ownership. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
So what next 10 years for you in the franchise industry? What did you like most about this? What did you like least? What do you see for yourself in franchising? I know you and I have some conversations, and horsepower is going to continue to grow. But like, where do you see you? Where do you see the state of the franchise industry? What are some things you'd like to see differently, or whatever? Yeah. I'd love to just kind of dig into the future.
Yeah, this year I've done a lot of soul searching too, of ensuring that I've actually been spending a lot more time writing my values down and thinking about my children, thinking about everything. But my personal mission or my professional mission is I want to make a positive impact on entrepreneurship. And so whatever I'm doing now into the future, I need to be able to look back or just look in the moment and saying, am I contributing to entrepreneurship? Is this getting better because of the time I'm spending in the thing that I'm working on? And so and that really stuck with me because when I look back before Horsepower, I did consulting too. I didn't talk about that, but I did consulting on the side. When I think about all the things I enjoyed doing, I enjoyed consulting. I'd sit down with business owners and just offer them advice or help them go through a challenge or look at an acquisition or refinance their things. And those were some of the most enjoyable moments, not because of the money, charge the fee for it, but like just because of I was able to help somebody solve a problem in their business. And I think I have some good talents in those areas. So that's first and foremost. If I'm looking at my professional career, I just want to make a positive impact on entrepreneurship. When I look at Horsepower and what we are doing, I'm saying a lot more often is I want to build people that build businesses.
Yep.
I'm just happening. Just is right now the chance where I can make that impact is in home services using franchising as being part of Horsepower brand. So these are what I'm part of is just the vehicle, but I want to build people that can build businesses because I do believe I at least enjoy the people that own businesses and are entrepreneurial. Those are the people that I enjoy hanging out with.
Yeah.
And those are the people I want to continue to be around. So where I can help them is where I want to continue to focus my time. I want to put a lot more time into my children and into my spouse, Trish, and just give them more opportunity. I want to help them grow. And so I spend a lot more time with my children thinking about their future and having a lot more conversations than I didn't do in the past. So my oldest son is an electrician, and he's 2 years in. Graduating high school, all he did let me know is he didn't know what he wanted to do, but he told me he doesn't want to do what I do. Which,
Why did you say that?
I didn't know how to take that in the moment. At
like,
that time,
whatever you're doing
Yeah.
is not something I'm interested in.
That would have been 2022 when we launched 5 brands at Horsepower. So
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do that either.
it could have had something to do with the stress levels.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to go to college because he didn't know what he wanted to do, which that's fine. College was going to be paid for, whatever he chose to do. So he kind of took, this gap year, but halfway through the gap year, he still didn't know what he wanted to do. And I was talking to him about home services. So I'm like, it's kind of cool that all this is coming full circle because I would never have thought to have that conversation before Horsepower.
Yeah.
And we talked about each of the trades, and he landed on electrician, and he loves it. Like, he absolutely loves it. He's really good at it. But he does tell me, like, Dad, just to be good in this area, like, I just have to show up on time, do as I ask, and continue to ask questions. And my boss, like, loves me. And so he's hoping to become an electrician in 2 more years, have the license, and then he's starting to ask about, like, what would it look like if I owned my own company or my own business,
awesome.
solopreneur. So he's reading some books that I've given him, and the whole relationship has changed there, that it just is really special to me.
That's cool.
So I'm loving that right now, spending time with him. And then my daughter, Lily, is incredibly brilliant. She'll do whatever she would like to do. And then my son, Landon, he's going to be, I don't know what he's going to be, because he's started a window company one summer. He's cleaned cars out. He'll go knock doors in the neighborhood.
Sounds like he wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's going to be the one that probably tries 20 things before he lands on one.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'll probably like become, I tell the older two that he'll probably have more money than them. It'll just come later in life because he'll try 20 different things. But so to get back to your question, I just want to be able to spend more time with my children, and then traveling with Trish and taking advantage of this life that I haven't been able to take advantage in the last 10, 15 years.
That's been a really big unlock for me. We've talked about it, but like, especially in these last 6 months, like, when is enough?
Right.
Have you read The 5 Types of Wealth? Did I tell you to read that book?
I don't think I haven't read that one.
You should read it.
Yeah.
It's by Sahil Bloom, 5 Types of Wealth. It basically says, like, the thesis is, like, there's financial wealth, which is what motivates like 99% of people, and then there's these other types of wealth. And for me, like, I've classed them as like faith, fitness, family, marriage, friendships, like these things. And when you launch a company, like, you have to put everything into it.
Everything.
And you essentially like grow a new limb. That's the business. But for the business to thrive long term, like it can't be everything to the entrepreneur. And like my family and I have just gotten so close, and I've realized like I really only need to leave for the things that are going to move the needle. I don't need to leave and go to conferences every single week. I have employees that can go to some of these conferences. I can maybe fly in for one night and fly out. But like prioritizing kind of like this like mental, physical, emotional, spiritual wellness outside of business ownership, which you have talked about with your kind of 7 kind of things that you've kind of framework around like building a whole life.
Right. Yeah.
And that's just been a really big piece of what I've been doing and what I've tried to prioritize. I think I told you I wrote out like a life manual.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's like a table of contents.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
it's like,
it's how we all are or you and me, we have to have a framework for us to like follow it.
Yeah.
And if we don't create a framework, we're not going to do very good at following it.
Yeah. I need a rule book.
Yeah.
That I built myself. Like they have to be my rules.
Yes.
Like, it can't be someone else's rules. But then I follow it, and then I'm like, oh, okay. So like I wrote that whole thing down, and I'm like, okay, this is like my new business plan.
Right.
And that was when I made the decision. I was like, it is very important for me now, like to get a CEO in place.
Yes.
So that I could have more space in my brain. Because a lot of it isn't just space on your calendar, like it's space in your brain.
Correct.
To also focus on some of these other things and be present for these other aspects of life.
You said it sometime we were talking, or I've heard you say this, but like working on the entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. I like that. Working
on the entrepreneur instead of in the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So like with me talking about responsible franchising, a lot of it was I saw a lot in the industry that I think we could like make some small changes and we'd have less problems. But my emotion and my desire for that to change, in a lot of ways, there's like systemic problems that it would take decades of things to do to change. I had no control over it. So I'm focusing my attention and my energy and emotion over something I didn't have any control over, which we tell our franchisees, like, that's not a good use of your time and energy. Like, focus on the things that you can directly impact. And so I pivoted toward, all right, well, let me just focus on the things that I can actually control and impact, which is helping my franchisees be successful and kind of going from up here in franchising to down here to just like operating. And in the last, let's call it 6 months, I'm like aware of when those types of emotions, whether it be ego driven or whether it be like, anger motivated or whatever, like they pop up, and I'm like, I notice them, and I'm like, oh, that's not something I need to react. That's not something I need to react to. And so I'm able to make these decisions from a purely logical standpoint versus an emotional standpoint. And it actually helps me be a better entrepreneur because the emotion has nothing to do with like what needs to happen in the business.
Yeah. Or your life plan outside the business.
Or my life plan right outside of the business. It's like, well, no, I made the commitment to do X, Y, and Z thing. And so now it's just about execution and how I feel about that. Or how my gut, like, it's less important on the emotion side, and it's more important that now I just know I need to execute. And so I kind of have used that framework to like work on the entrepreneur versus in the entrepreneur. And the first person who told me that was David Barr.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I can't take full credit for it. He at the unconference did this whole speech on thinking about yourself as if it's a system that you're trying to kind of like optimize.
Yeah. I've been focusing a lot on like optimizing myself and just thinking about that. Yeah.
Well,
I love that. Yeah.
So we only actually have so many finite resources.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think I had ChatGPT figure this out with me one time, but it's like there's only like 7 of them or something. So it's attention.
Yeah.
It's time, which is the one everyone knows. It's goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
Patience, I think, is one of them. That's a finite
Yep,
resource.
I have a finite resource there. I'm working on that.
Yeah, patience. Energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's like, oh, and then I think relationship capital, or like social capital. Like I think Hormozy has talked about that one specifically, where it's like you only have like maybe three big things that you could, like, if you build a big audience.
Right.
Like school was one of them for him.
Right.
Acquisition.com is another one. Like, you can't be the guy that comes out with this new big thing every 2 years or whatever. Like, no one's going to take you seriously.
Elon Musk, the one exception.
Unless you're Elon Musk and you're funding the whole thing with $200 million.
Right. Yeah,
like, that's a different story. So anyways, I try to think about these things of like, how do I optimize my life to protect my most finite resources? Like, we can get more money. We can get more, like, those, not that those resources can be infinite, but you can replenish those. And so, like, I delete news apps from my phone because it takes away my attention. If I'm on Twitter and everyone's angry and like combative, I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to look at Twitter for a while. I'm just going to, and so I'm like, I protect these finite resources with like, just like ruthless execution.
Which I think is good that like you're seeing it now at our age.
Yeah, because
these are lessons that we hear from people that are older. And so now we're eventually just going to be the old guys in the chairs, and some young person's like, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. You just got to work harder.
The framework that I also was like, what is 55-year-old me going to wish that I did more of? And 55-year-old me is probably not going to be like, God, Aaron, I wish you just went and made more money.
Yeah.
Like, if I really truly put everything on the table every day, and I like gave everything my all, and we've got food on our tables, and our house is we're making bills, like that thing, like going from the size business that we are now to 6 more, 10 more, 20 more, 20 big times bigger, I guess it's not going to make a meaningful difference. And so if that's true, then like, what actions do I need to take today to ensure that 55-year-old me doesn't have those kind of regrets? Which it sounds like you're seeing and trying to say, hey, been grinding in entrepreneurship here for 15 years. Like, how do I invest in these other elements of my life?
How do I slow down? Or it's not even slow down, just prioritizing. It's what you're saying. Like, I can get a lot accomplished in 40 hours. It's being able to flip it off and then taking the rest of the energy and putting it into the people that matter in my life. So this is the first year where my phone gets shut off 5:30, which is unbelievable.
That's amazing.
It's a weird feeling, but it's an amazing feeling because I can lean in to my relationship with Trish and the kids a lot more than I ever have.
Yeah.
But then like it goes back to, and we're getting off track a little bit, but it's the sole idea of why you need to focus on one business and why you do need to go all in, so that you can focus on your physical health, your mental health, your relationships, the impact you're making to your overall, like your faith, your community, the venture that you're trying to plan, the freedom that you really have. Like, you can only have one business that you're putting all your attention to.
Especially if it's your first time doing it.
Yes,
it takes so much energy. Starting a business is the hardest and most rewarding thing I've ever done. I mean, barring like being a dad. The rewarding that I get from launching and growing and scaling a company, and then me growing and scaling as an individual as a result. Like, it's the best professional development course that I've ever been into. It's very hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine trying to do that while also, having a boss with $175,000 a year salary.
Yes.
Needing to travel to New Jersey on a Thursday because I got to be there for a client meeting on Friday when I've got a business that I'm supposed to be serving customers on Friday. Like, that just sounds like a terrible. Might as well just light the money on fire.
Yep, exactly.
Like, completely.
Yeah.
I think the idea of franchise in general, like the word franchise, maybe people have like a misunderstanding of it. Like, oh, well, if I'm buying a franchise and I'm paying a royalty, like the franchisor should just like run my business, or
Right.
the franchisor should hire my employees, or this or that. So I do think that kind of part of this is setting the proper expectations with franchisees before they even become franchisees of what a franchisor is. So someone who's just thinking about starting a business or buying a business or
Right.
being a founder or whatever, like understanding that a franchise isn't, we're not going to do everything for you. You're just
Right.
going to have more tools in your toolbox.
It's a vehicle and a community. So going back to my oldest son, who's an electrician, I've even thought in my own head, and I'm like, don't even want to say this on your podcast because I'm going to get people calling me like, you could buy my franchise, but like, I would buy him a electrical franchise so that I can remain his father.
Yep.
And I don't have to, I don't want our relationship to turn into coaching him in business 100% of the time. I want to be his dad first.
Yeah.
So I'd buy him an electrical franchise, even though I'm confident the two of us could figure it out together. But just the fact that he'd get involved in that community,
Yep.
and then be a part of this vehicle, like in my mind, I could almost rationalize, even though I'm pretty confident that I could do it without a franchise, that there still could be a good fit for him and I.
Yeah.
And then a really good fit for him to really take ownership of it and know that it's on him to find the answers.
Yep.
So like, if I can rationalize that, then I know there's a spot in franchising for a lot of people that just need assistance. You just got to make sure that I think anyone watching this that is looking to buy a franchise or become a franchisee, you're a business owner, and you're just using franchising as your vehicle or your pathway or your support, and that you're going to be a part of a community among many other people doing the exact same business as you under the exact same brand name. And that's the leverage, that's the benefit, and that should be like the first thing that you consider. Not that this is going to be easier because of I'm being a part of a franchise, just because you get so much more access.
Yeah, that's and I think that generation, like they're less and less interested, from what I'm reading and all the data, that they're less and less interested in working for someone else and going to college and being $200,000 in debt and coming out and getting paid $60,000 a year and then paying off your student loans for the next 15 years. Like the math isn't mathing anymore.
It's not.
It's not mathing anymore.
It's a little scary.
Yeah.
To think about your kids and what's going to happen and what could transpire. It's not good. I don't know. It's just,
I don't know either. And you imagine like a professor right now who is supposed to be authority in whatever their knowledge base is, and every single one of their students has the entire knowledge base in ChatGPT in seconds, and so they have a test, and I mean they're probably just basically becoming plagiarism defenders at most.
Correct.
Like it's like, so you're not even paying for like
Yeah.
what does education look like in 15 years? Even before AI, I had a similar thought. I was like, all right, because my goal is to put aside the money necessary for each of my kids to be able to go to college.
Correct.
Like as quickly as I can, put it somewhere, save it, let it earn. But if one of my kids graduates high school and is like, I don't see value in college, or it doesn't have the same value it does today, or it's 20 years from now, like I would buy them. I would say, okay, well, let's use this money instead to get you a franchise.
Right.
So you can go in and learn business. When someone starts a business, they're going to be learning the electrical trade, and at the same time, they're going to be learning the game of business.
The game of business.
The game of business. And so if you have a group of people, a community, owners that you could talk to, a framework, like it's going to be easier, and it's going to be easier than if you were doing it on your own. It's still going to be hard, but it's not going to be as hard. So yeah, no, I love that idea.
We have a couple father sons in our system, and I absolutely love it. Just 'cause I think it's powerful, and like I don't want to. I could easily give my son the answer of what type of entity to form, how to leverage debt, and what to do for taxes, and where to go get insurance, but now I'm it's a completely different relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's so it sounds crazy. We'll see what happens, what we choose to do.
Yeah.
But if any of my children didn't want entrepreneurship, I'm 100% okay with that. I want to create a pathway where, like, I just want to be there for them no matter what. And so if they want to do it, I want to be like, let's go, let's do this together. Or,
Yeah.
where can I help you? Do you want me involved? Do you want me to stay to the side? You tell me, but let's do this.
Yeah.
I want to give them the opportunity to just say yes to the idea of it, because I know that it could take them really far in life. So I'm the same way. They don't have to go to college.
Yeah, I just don't think it doesn't have as much weight as it does. And I mean, where AI's at right now and where it's going to be
with your young children.
I mean, dude, my daughter's 3 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, where are we going to be when she's 18, 15?
No idea.
We're going to have robots teaching people. Like, and they actually might be better teachers than teachers.
I was just going to say, her at 15 might be way smarter than either one of us at 19 ever were, because the access to information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's also terrifying because, like, I always, what's one of the questions, I'm like, when are my kids, I mean, they're really young, but like, when do kids have smartphones nowadays? Because there's like a safety element to it.
Yep.
But there's also like, you want them to enjoy the moment of like being there. And if like one of my biggest fears is like, I'm pretty like, I'm looking at my phone a lot,
I know.
you know, and I'm worried that like my kids are going to get a phone and all of a sudden like they just scroll and I'm just like really worried about that.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't have any advice there. I struggle in that area.
Yeah.
And so do my children. They all have the phones by now, but it's, I think that we need to just invent devices that you can just hit a button and everything's shut off in the home.
That would
Nobody
be
can
awesome.
use anything.
Yeah, you just turn it off. I bought this
For
thing.
myself, too.
I bought this thing called a brick. Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
So it's an app you download on your phone, and it's an actual like brick that magnetizes to it, like somewhere. And you go up and you open the app and you walk by and you scan it, and it turns off access to every single distracting app on your phone.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So the only thing the phone becomes is like a phone text message unit. And there's something about like there's apps that do that too. There's tons of them.
Or you can set your iPhone up.
You can set it up. You could set up like, you know, distracting apps, but you could turn all that stuff off. The idea with the brick is you have to walk to the other end of your house.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
To turn it off.
Okay. Interesting.
So they're like $50 or whatever, but like you go and you do it and you're down the hall and you're doing deep work, which is when I generally do it. And in order to check that app, like you'd have to get up, get out of the situation you're in, walk to it, press the thing. So there's a lot of thought process during that to be like, oh, actually, I'm just going to like stay focused here.
Yeah. Just removing the notifications and the badge counts or whatever on my phone has been a game changer.
I did that a long time ago.
Yeah, that's been a game changer.
Was that recent that you did that?
About a month ago.
It makes a big fucking difference.
A huge difference. Yes. Huge.
You don't see those red bubbles and you're like...
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But then I open it, I'm like, oh man, I have not checked in for a while, but that's probably a good thing.
It is good.
It's probably a good thing. Do you do count? Like, how do you manage your week? All calendar or?
You mean for my week during the week?
Yeah. Like you deep think time or like, is it calendar based or what do you do?
Yeah. So, when my calendar was fuller, I would block out 3-4 hours for content, and then I would take my calls in the afternoon. And then I'd work out first thing in the morning. So basically I would have a lot of time to focus on deep work and get in the zone for something before starting to take calls. And then what I also do is I'll block the same type of calls together. So like if we have a mastermind, I may have a mastermind or a long team meeting right prior to that with like a 30-minute break in between. So like my brain's already kind of in that mentality of like helping lead a meeting or whatever. So I don't have to like switch. And the reason I started doing that is because content is obviously a really big part of our business. And content is it's a creative endeavor. And one of the hardest parts about content is coming up with the content. And And so you can't like, you have to really dial in. And sometimes it might take 35 minutes of writing before I like hit a stride, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden I hit like 35, 40 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, I'm spitting out like really good posts now.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to go for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I look up and it's like 2.5, 3 hours later.
Yeah.
But I got stuff out that like people might like reading or whatever. And you're competing online with like really smart content creators and people, and like you're vying for attention. So the content has to be good, and you have to have a lot of it, ideally. Now, we're fortunate in our community because the franchise community is relatively small.
Right.
So to be known within that community, have you heard Hormozy talk about puddles, pools, and ponds?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so he basically says that like, you want to be known in your puddle, which in our case would be like franchising.
Yeah.
And then there's kind of like what's the pool, and then like what's the pond. So like as an example, so if I went and like started talking about general business practices,
right,
there's way smarter people than me,
right,
that can have authority on that. So that would be like a pond that I'm not going to be able to have authority in yet.
Yeah.
Versus if I'm in franchising and I'm talking about how to scale a franchise system,
right,
like we would have authority on that.
Correct.
So we can kind of become known. But then you jump from the kind of puddle into the pool.
Yeah.
And so like we talked about the SMB kind of ETA
business ownership,
business, but like kind of specifically like small business ownership, kind of that like smaller to middle market, Twitter sphere kind of thing. That's like I would consider that like the pool.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Then, if we, we build $1 billion company, like now I have authority to kind of like speak in the
more general,
in the general business community. Like for Hormozy,
it's linear. So he says start here.
Correct.
Here. Yep.
Yeah. So like, as an example, like when he was running his gym business, he licensed his model to 3,500 gyms.
Correct.
But he had authority in gyms.
Gyms, yes.
And the only way he got authority outside of gyms is he sold that business, and he got the credibility. And he talks about this. He actually made more money and was wealthier before he sold the company because of the distributions that he was able to take.
Yeah.
He took like $11 million in personal distributions in like 18 months.
Right.
And he could have just kept doing that for like years. But he wanted to kind of step into that authoritative and
next tier.
And when someone buys your business, in that case, like he now has the authority to then now speak on greater general business. But
interesting.
It's really fascinating.
Yep.
So anyways, so for the content side of things, like I try to focus intently on that one thing for a while, and now we're going to be diving into long form. And long form is like it's the unlock. Like long form and live for content, I think, is the future.
Define long form to me.
So like if you go watch a YouTube video that's an hour long.
Okay, got it.
You are committed to learning about that person. Like if someone's made it this far in this podcast,
Agreed.
At this point,
Yeah.
like they know me and they know you,
Yeah.
and they have a relationship with me. Think of how many shorts they would have to watch to have the same outcome that they've had now. And hi, listeners. Like this is like the idea is like, hey, like why do you listen to Joe Rogan? Like it's a 3-hour long podcast.
Yeah.
Like we feel like we know Joe Rogan because we listen to his stuff. So shorts might like grab attention and stuff, but long is really where it is. And
that's where it gets sticky.
And you have years and hours of conversations with someone before you've ever met them.
Right.
And that's where like the true compounding effect of it is. And then live. So this is why I think this way. Like we are in this world where anyone can become a content creator.
Correct.
With AI, it's getting so good that you could literally prompt it
Right.
And it could probably within the next 6 months create, probably video too, thousands of hours of content with like 2 prompts.
Correct.
And so what's going to offset that is like really, really real, raw, long form, live content that cannot be replicated.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tune in and watch and
yeah. Brian Beers was showing me.
Do you watch any live content now? My kids do, but I don't. I honestly do not watch any like YouTube lives.
The only one was watching the Hormozy.
I did watch that.
$100 million.
That's true.
Yeah, like, and it was captivating. And even though it was like I think he probably designed it this way, but it was like an infomercial that you couldn't turn off.
Yeah, I think I was more captivated because I was more amazed by the scale that he had accumulated.
But you're also watching 3,500 books and the ticker's just going up. And you're like...
It's 100% an infomercial.
And I would go in after like 4 hours of not watching it just to like see where the books were at. And he's still taking live calls and all this stuff. But no, I don't. But a lot of younger generation, like they tune in, like these Twitch live streamers, like people watch people play video games, and these people are famous.
Right.
Like they're famous, like because they play video games and everyone tunes in. And so I don't know what that looks like in our space, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like an Instagram or a LinkedIn live, like either once a week or once a day. We're trying to figure out like the cadence, just breaking down like my Ironman training for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that I do when I'm sitting there for 2 hours on a bike is I'm working on the entrepreneur instead of I'm thinking of the way I think about things. I'm, meditating. I'm like staying in the moment. And then I have a lot of ideas and thoughts. And so we're going to record those live. We may only have 2 people that log in, but that's 2 people who are willing to sit there and listen to me ramble for 10 minutes about something. And the idea is to hopefully create enough value and interest in for them to continue kind of compound the audience. But yeah, so long form is going to take even more time on my calendar to just really like, because you have to keep someone's attention for 30 minutes. Or even a 10-minute long.
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to figure out if you could accomplish that for entrepreneurship or business ownership or franchising.
So Hormozy just did a video about this. He's literally like investing in figuring out like, so we'll just be able to watch him do it and then determine if like how we can make it work in our world. Tarek Johnson is doing it. He's going on LinkedIn
I haven't came across that. Okay.
Yeah, so he's going on LinkedIn Live and doing a breakdown of like either a business for sale or something like that. I've seen a couple people do it. It'd actually be a fun thing for you and me to do. Yeah. We get on there and just do a breakdown on, I don't know, anything. But like people tune in, they like that kind of stuff. So that'd be really cool. You've dove in.
And you can do lives just like remotely and all that. I have no clue.
Completely remotely.
Yeah.
So we're setting it up with Chase. What's it called? Riverside.
Oh yeah.
So you knew it to Riverside.
Yeah, we use that. Okay.
Yeah. So apparently doing a Riverside, we're linking it to YouTube, we're linking it to my Instagram, we're linking it to Facebook, and then you broadcast from Riverside, and it just goes out to all the channels.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's live, and we'll have to look into this, Chase, but like if it's live, like does it broadcast after it was live, or is it broadcasting to those sites? It's real time. Yeah, so then anyone can tune in, they can make comments and stuff like that. I've gone live a couple times. It is nerve-wracking.
100%. Like even if you're like 2 people and you're like nervous as all get out.
You're so nervous.
People,
yeah, there's no editing. Yeah. It's like you're saying whatever you're saying and
whatever you're thinking and saying
that's
at the time.
It.
Yeah.
But you've dove more into content.
I have. And the goal, for me would be I think we have something pretty darn special at Horsepower, and what we've been able to create and the people that we have behind it. So I'm simply just trying to tell the story more and more in my way, to whoever my audience is, about what we're doing, what we're where we're seeing success, and then also being able to tell the story of the type of person that we want to join the system,
that you're looking for,
all-in mindset and the attributes it takes to be a business owner. And because the more I feel like I can tell that story, my own employees are seeing it.
Yeah.
So I could send emails to the employees, or I could just post on content and our employees see it, our partners and referral partners see it. So I think it's a helpful content. Is 100%. I see a lot of success. I haven't been able to figure out the unlock from the organic sense.
In terms of finding organic franchise leads.
People that want to buy a business that might consider franchising. However, mid-funnel, or people that are in our system, I do see people following that are candidates, liking my posts even before they've made the decision.
Yeah.
So I think it's even giving them some more affirmation or validation of, I guess, who the leader of the organization is. And it's less around the company page anymore. It's more around the CEO.
That is the best way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's harder today to build like a Coca-Cola or like a Pepsi or like a Lululemon or whatever, like these brands. Like, I think it's harder today to do that because people want to follow people.
Yeah.
And with the age and the rise in social media and how much time people spend on social media, they want to see people.
Yeah.
I actually saw this thing recently where the kind of like age of they say like the age of the influencer is dead, and the age of the operator influencer, so someone who has operated or is operating a successful business, to then educate their audience on how to do the thing that they're doing. So it's like, it's all evidence-based versus like the if you think about like the traditional influencer, and probably why influencers, one of the reasons why influencer is like a bad word in some circles, is like they stand next to a bag, they point to it, and they get paid 10 grand.
Correct.
And what you're doing and what I'm doing is like, no, we're operating businesses and they're growing, and like we're going to share our experiences with the world, and hopefully we're going to synthesize those experiences in a way that a lot of people can understand and learn from.
Yeah, I read somewhere, this is around testimonials, or like we launched a podcast that's more focused with our franchisees and telling their story about business ownership. But reading somewhere, I saw this where, testimonials in marketing it just shortens the distance between marketing and trust. And if you want to get your customer, which would be somebody looking to buy a franchise, to buy into your product or service, by using testimonials in your marketing message to that person, it shortens that distance to trust, which is what ultimately gets them to buy your product or your service. I think the same thing in the content. If the CEO is out there and telling the story and consistent to the message, it's just shortening that distance where you're able to make a sound decision of saying, I like roofing, I like Mighty Dog Roofing, but I also like the leader and the things that he represents and speaks about. So I think it ultimately helps people get to a decision and joining your system. There's probably limited ways to validate that. It's a core belief that the more I push out there, I believe people are seeing it. It helps with the recruiting employees. It helps with all of that stuff.
Yeah. It's a compounding asset, and it compounds in so many different ways. I mean, we find great franchisees from it, and there have been cases where, multiple cases where franchisees hopped on an intro call. This was back when I was doing franchise development. Said, "Hey, Aaron, I've been following you for 6 months. Yeah. What are the next steps?" And I'm like, "Well, we're going to do unit economics FDD review tomorrow as a group call. It's at 9 a.m. Jump on that." Jumps on that. There's 3 other people looking at the same territory that are also on that call.
Yep.
And he calls me later that afternoon and says, "I don't want people to take my territory. I'm good to go. So send me the FDD, and in 15 days, I will sign it, and we will move forward, and please hold those territories for me." 2 days.
Because he already did the research.
He had already known me. And you can find, going back to like having the internet in your pocket, like now you have AI. Yeah. You could literally analyze 16 different franchise opportunities in 2 seconds and put them in a table next to each other. And what are the royalties versus this versus that? How many closures? Like, you could have AI do that in a second. So what's the thing that's going to be the deciding factor? It's going to be the relationship that they have with the culture of the business. And the best way for me to be been able to get that out is via the content. And I think there's positives and negatives to it. Putting yourself out there online and being vulnerable is, scary in some cases, but there are more positives than negatives. And the crazy thing is, the bigger you get and the more successful your business is and the more people that follow you, the more people that don't like you.
Yes.
It's just a nature of numbers.
Yeah. But if you're true to yourself, that doesn't worry me as much anymore.
Correct.
If you're true to yourself and the message you're putting out there is consistent to your values, like, then it is what it is. I don't need too many more friends in my life. I just want to continue to make a positive impact to entrepreneurship. And so the messaging's around that. And at the end of the day, the haters are the haters. I just ignore them.
And content, the point of content is not to make everyone like you. It's to make the right people come in and build relationships with the right people that work for you at Horsepower Brands, or suppliers that you want to develop relationships with, or national account partnerships.
Any stakeholder. Yeah. Anyone. Yeah. It's a crazy world, but I'm enjoying it. I think I could do a little bit more on some different channels. But I'm doing it all on my own too. So people always ask, like, do you have anyone that does that? No, like, it's all me typing it. And so I'm posting at the wrong times. I know I'm doing everything, technically probably wrong. You're doing time of day, but I'm just doing it.
You are doing, I've been meaning to tell you this. Yeah. You are doing a great job. Like, that is the less planned it feels. Yeah. And the less polished it feels, actually, the more people are going to resonate with it. Yeah. Whereas, like, a year ago, I'm not sure it would be the same thing. Like, it was like, a lot of my stuff was more, hey, let's have this hook here. Yeah. Let's have 7 ways to franchise a business. Yes. Let's restate the hook at the bottom. A lot of the stuff that I write now is very stream of consciousness. Yes. It's off the cuff, and you're doing a phenomenal job. Keep doing it. What I will tell you is, whatever you post, copy it and put it on a note or on a document. Yeah. Because you're going to want to come back to it later. Yeah. And we had a VA go through all of my posts and copy it and categorize it later. So that would be one thing. All it literally is just copy, put it somewhere else, because then you can come back and you can look at your impressions for a year prior and be like, oh, these ones crushed. Right. Yeah. Or even last month, these ones crushed. Yeah. And you can kind of tweak a little bit and be like, oh, this is interesting to my audience, or this got engagement in this way. But yeah, I talked to Brian Alice the other day, and he was reading my Ironman training journal. He's like, I'm literally reading it right now. He goes, please don't tell me that you write all of these words. I'm like, I write every one of them. He's like, okay, I'm probably not the first person to tell you this, but you're insane. Yeah. Like, you're not the first, and you definitely won't be the last either. Yeah. So
it's good, though. It's good. Yeah. It's freeing to kind of write down your thoughts. It reaffirms, like, the things that you believe and the things that you think.
It also, what it does is helps you like understand you. It's a self-reflective process. And so you then get better internally, because you're like, to you and my point, like, we like frameworks, like, okay, I think this way, this is why. And then you have to take that thing and you have to explain it in a way that a 6th grader can understand. And so it becomes like this cool thing.
Yeah, Trisha and I just it was a Sunday date, but we went out to the park and established our values in our relationship, which we hadn't done this before. We talk or whatever. Yeah. We have values that will be written. We have plans for the remainder of life, things that are important.
That's awesome.
Things that we commit to each other that we will not do, or think, like, don't punish the past is one of the things. So if I left my laundry on the floor and whatever, it's like, don't punish the past. I fix it, move on. Like, yeah. And so, I like that. But we wrote it all down, and then the other exercise I did, write your obituary.
Oh, you did that?
Holy smokes! I did about 6 months ago.
Whoa, what was that like?
It's when you start to think about, and I didn't write it in an obituary sense of like what would be in the paper, like the message that you'd want to be written to each one of your kids and the people that mean something to you in your life. So I wrote, like, typed it out on my phone, and you're starting to type it out, and you like, Clay, and this is what you've meant to me in my life, and you're like, oh my gosh, like the emotions just flow.
Wow.
But then you just start to then realize then you start to think about who the real people are in your life. Who would you write a message to, and who would you want to read that message?
Wow.
Broad audience versus like the actual direct person.
Yeah.
That's a good exercise.
That is.
Yeah.
I wrote like a letter to my future self.
Yep.
Which was kind of cool. Once I kind of did that, kind of like operating plan type of thing, but that's wild. So basically it's a letter to the people that you care about.
You'd want them to read.
That you'd want them to read after you die. So obituary is more like what someone would write about
Correct.
you, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like
it's tied to a trust, establishing a trust, and something that would go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, no, that had to have been a wild experience. Tony, this has been an awesome episode, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
I'm
coming on.
glad I came out.
Yeah.
I'm glad I came out to Nashville and spent time.
Yeah.
We walked through a river.
We did walk through a river.
Freezing.
It was literally freezing. We did our first basically cold bath out there. Now we're gonna go do another one.
Yes.
That was awesome seeing the waterfall, standing behind the waterfall.
Yep.
But really appreciate you coming to Nashville and coming on the Scaling Podcast and our friendship.
Yep, I appreciate it too. I think you're doing good things in franchising, good things with this podcast, and I appreciate the relationship that we have.
Thanks, Tony.
See you,
Appreciate
man.
it. All right, see you.